All right, our coach expectations, real quick. The three things that I used to gauge in selecting our coaches were character, competency, and chemistry. The character of our coaches are most important, and so I know that I've developed a personal relationship with all these coaches, and I've spent time and interviewed every one of them, and through that process made sure that we have coaches of great character. Competency, like I said, we have over 10 coaches who've played college football on our staff. And that's an amazing thing to have, just to be able to bring the fundamentals and the knowledge from the next level, and also to provide a resource to your kids who have the ambition and the desire to go on and play the next level. We've got a lot of resources through that. And then also chemistry. I definitely want to make sure that we get along and that we have a good time, and that's going to be contagious among the kids. And I don't think kids are very apt to following coaches that can't get along with each other. The expectations that I have of our coaches is that they're going to be prompt, prepared, patient, persistent, and passionate. All right, moving on to student athlete expectations. Like I said, effort, focus, and attitude are things we're going to see a lot. So I thought the best way to explain what the expectations of our student athletes are is to frame it within effort, focus, and attitude. The effort that I ask of our student athletes is to communicate. Communicate to you, communicate to us, and being effective communicators. The focus that I ask of them is to prioritize. Things can get very busy when you're trying to do school and football and family and everything at the same time. So we're going to talk about prioritizing, and then an attitude of gratitude. I think that's the best attitude to have. It's very easy to see what you don't have, but sometimes it's easy to forget about what you do have, and I want us to constantly be reminded of how fortunate we are to be able to participate in this sport. Communicate. I'm going to ask the kids to plan ahead. Football is becoming a very technical sport. It's becoming a very demanding sport physically and mentally. I don't think that 100% attendance is unrealistic with the kids' schedules, and the only way that it can be realistic is with planning ahead, having them communicate with you, having us communicate with you, and you guys communicating with us. If there's ever an emergency and you're not able to make anything, the communication piece and the effort that it takes is to contact the head coach of their level to let them know that they're not going to be able to make practice or not going to be able to make a game or any other event. And the last piece of putting effort forward is to communicate and advocate for themselves. Focus, prioritizing. I strongly believe in faith and family being first, school being second, and football being third. I do not think that I do not ever want to compromise that prioritization for you and your family. I don't ever want you to feel that football is becoming more important than family and school. With that being said, football is not always the most important, but sometimes it's the least flexible, and organizing and planning for 160 people to be at things can be very difficult. And so there isn't a lot of flexibility in our football schedule. And then I think one of the great lessons to learn is that every decision that we make has opportunities or consequences. And I think that's important to highlight and talk about, both for our kids' personal decisions and for our decisions that we make. It's easy to think about the consequences as a negative motivator, but a lot of times we overlook the opportunities that making the right choices have in giving their kids opportunities to succeed. Lastly, the attitude of gratitude. I strongly believe that school is a responsibility, not an option. One of my biggest pet peeves is unexcused absences and just cutting classes. If I see a lot of unexcused absences on your kids' attendance, they definitely will be hearing from me. Along those lines, football is a privilege and not an entitlement. I definitely think that life is competitive. The football state championship doesn't get passed around from league to league. Just because the CVC didn't win the state championship in a while, it doesn't mean it's our turn. Just because McNary hasn't won the league title in a while, it doesn't mean that it's going to be our turn soon. I definitely see at the varsity level, everything is competitive, and we get measured on a competitive level with wins and losses, and so we're going to play our best football players. And so just because it's the kid's a senior, doesn't mean it's his time to shine. There's definitely privileges that come along with football, and it's not something that is just owed to you. And lastly, this attitude of gratitude. We're blessed. You know, sometimes it's easy to size up players that are maybe taller, faster, and stronger than you, and overlook the fact that you're a part of a small percentage, the top 10% of people who are mentally and physically capable to participate in this game. You're already a part of a small population of people who are having this experience in high school, and I truly believe that gives you an advantage and teaches you lessons for life that gives you an edge when you graduate from high school. And you're definitely blessed to have this opportunity. It's easy as a second string guy to be upset that you're not a first string guy, but you're also a guy that's on a football team, and you're part of a small percentage and a small population of people who are just lucky to have this experience. And so a lot of times attitude and perspective with a small shift in it can make things a lot better. Parent expectations, how your effort, focus, and attitude can be applied. Your effort should be put towards encouraging. I think the easy way out is to complain, and the difficult thing to do is to encourage sometimes. Positive, encouraging talk, that takes a lot of effort. As coaches, I'm always telling our coaches, there's two ways you could always say something. You could take the easy way out and say the negative way, or you could take a couple of seconds and find a positive way to say something. Encourage your kid to advocate for himself. The easy thing to do is to sit behind a keyboard and fire off an email to make yourself feel better. The difficult thing to do is to help your child to step forward and advocate for himself and talk to his coaches and find out what's going on. And the difficult thing and the effort that it takes is to ask your kids before you tell. I guarantee you every decision that we make in our program has some thought behind it. There is intentionality behind it. And whether you agree or disagree with the decisions that we make, there is actually a reason why we make those decisions. And so a lot of times it takes a little bit of effort to ask what were the thoughts behind the decisions before you go off, and especially with your children at home. You put them in difficult situations and put them in conflicts of interest when they've got coaches telling them one thing and then going home and hearing a different side of the story. A lot of times it might be good to ask and start a conversation with your child about if they understand or if they know why the coaches made the decisions that they made. Our focus is on life lessons. The reason why I get into this job and the reason why I'm motivated to do this job is because I believe in the life lessons that it teaches your kids. So the promise that I can make to you guys is that your son will learn life lessons that will give him an advantage in life. That's the only promise that I can make. I cannot promise playing time, stats, awards, or scholarships. Okay? I do believe that every kid that wants to play college football and has the ability to play college football will play college football. Up here in the Northwest, there are tons of opportunities for kids to play college football. And we have, like I said, we have tons of coaches with a lot of experience and a large network that will get your kids found if that is what they want to do. Okay, but that's not something that we can promise right off the bat. What we will do is work hard for the best interests of your student athletes. So that's what we can promise, what we can't promise, and what we will do for you guys. But that's kind of the focus that we have, is that the one guarantee I have for you is that when your kids leaving our program, they will be more prepared for life than kids who haven't been a part of our program.